Hello everyone, here is Ricardo Vargas and this is a 5 Minutes podcast. Today I want to talk about a situation you may have experienced. The project was delivered successfully, but by the time it was done, it no longer made sense. The scope was completed, the schedule completely followed and on time, the budget was under control. Everything went according to the plan. But something changed out there. Changed in the market, in the technology, new regulations, or even the customer behavior that generate the existence of that project. And suddenly, that well-executed project no longer has real value for the organization. And this is a silent risk, because we focus so much on execution that we sometimes forget to check if the objective is still valid. And a classic example was what happened in many in-person events in March 2020, when the pandemic flipped everything upside down. Or even when companies that launched physical products just as consumers had already shifted to digital. By the time the project was ready, the audience had moved on. This kind of situation shows that delivery what was planned is not the same as delivery what is needed. That is why it's essential to monitor the external environment during the execution and not just during initial planning. What we usually do is that we only start a project if we see the benefit. Because if you're starting a project with no benefit, it makes no sense even that the project exists. But what happens? Maybe you started with a clear understanding of the benefits, but 6 months later, something changed and, it makes no sense to continue. Remember, when you are inside a hole, stop digging. And it's very important that you do this as early as possible. You can do this with strategic checkpoints through the project. Specific moments to reassess if the direction still makes sense. These relevance verification points can help us avoiding wasting time, energy, and resources on something that has lost its timing. And if you notice the world has changed, bring that conversation to the sponsor and key stakeholders is imperative, and you should do that as soon as possible. Often, with small adjustments, it's possible, and I'm not saying it will, but it's possible to reconnect the project with today's reality. But that takes courage and agility. It's also important to redefine the success criteria. Maybe it's no longer about scope, but it's about usefulness and impact. And of course, document this kind of lessons so you don't repeat the same mistake, because these risks won't show up in your Gantt chart or your WBS. It won't. And remember, true success isn't delivering what was agreed. It's delivering what actually makes a difference in today's world. Think about that. I hope you enjoy this episode and see you next week with another 5 Minutes podcast.